Many spiritual teachings and numerous mystics stress the importance for the spiritual disciple, that's us, we're spiritual disciples, to develop a constant awareness of the divine. Such practices may not be excessively difficult in an ashram in the Himalayas, a monastery in Montana, or with fellow pilgrims during the Muslim Hajj to Mecca, or even during your morning meditation. But how do you keep such a spiritual awareness when you are alone in an elevator with someone having an epileptic seizure? How do you keep your spiritual poise during a transatlantic flight with the baby in the seat behind you crying its heart out, which was just 2 weeks ago for me? How do you keep your calm when someone insults you without reason? How do you feel love rather than pity in a refugee camp with hundreds of hungry children pulling at your clothes? The practice of blessing is a simple way to develop a constantly centered awareness. It is also a tool for growing in universal love and avoiding judgment. When you bless all those you meet in their total happiness and true integrity, without the slightest concern for their appearance, their expression, race, class, sex, or any other label, when you wish them the very best from your innermost being, it is impossible for your heart not to expand. A constant reminder of spiritual masters is that you cannot grow spiritually if you are burdened mentally by the habit of judging others. Shall I read that again?
Yes, please.
You cannot grow spiritually if you are burdened mentally by the habit of judging others. But do not take my word for it. Try it for yourself. Systematically replace every single thought of judgment with blessing, especially for that fellow at the office who drives you out of your mind. I'm going to read through our new affirmation, and then I'll invite you to join me. I bless this day and everything in it, calling forth all the good, seen and unseen. I know God's blessing walks with me wherever I go, that I am blessed even as I am a blessing to others, and so it is. Please stand and join me with conviction. I bless this day and everything in it, calling forth all the good, seen and unseen. I know God's blessing walks with me wherever I go, that I am blessed even as I am a blessing to others, and so it is. York. And you like his music. God bless you. See, we dream it, and then we bring it into existence, and then we have to actually walk that way. How many of you dream it, and then you go, oh, well, I forgot to walk that way. It was a really lovely dream. And so I'm going to get back on the dream. I'm going to get back on the dream. And then a couple days later, oh, I forgot to walk that way. See, we have to walk that way. The truth is simple. The truth is super easy. God is good. You are at one with the infinite life. You are good. God's inherent creative power is your inherent creative power. Boom! Now walk that way. Love rules. Walk that way. Peace rules. Walk that way. Because here's what happens. If you don't walk that way, oh gosh, my Harry Potter candles. If you don't walk that way, it's going to show up. There's a story of a family who was having company for dinner. Mom was having a big dinner party, and she cooked and she worked all day long working on this dinner party and getting everything just right. And all the guests are there, and they're all seated around the table, and Mom wants to show off her daughter. And she says to her daughter, darling, will you give the blessing? And her daughter says, well, I wouldn't know what to say. And her mom says, well, just talk to God like you hear Mom talk to God. So the daughter bows her head and says, dear God, why did I invite all these people to dinner? Do you see, when we don't walk that way, it shows up? Right? In one way or another, it comes out. And this story is a story of blessing, isn't it? Blessing is it's something that we do in our community, but I'm not sure how much we really think about it. What does it mean to confer a blessing. What does it mean to bless something, to give a blessing? And here's what the dictionary says about the word. Literally, well, actually not literally. What the dictionary says is that the word bless, to bless means to confer good upon, or to confer good favor, divine favor upon. And so when we bless our meal, we are conferring good upon the food, that it nourishes our bodies, that we lean into gratitude for what we've been given. When we bless a baby in a christening, we confer good upon their life. Yes? We confer divine favor upon their life. We do all kinds of blessings. We bless meals. We bless our service. Just 10 minutes ago, I'm up here saying a blessing for this service, right? What are some other blessings we engage in? Christenings. Oh, I can't do it. I'm going to bless these candles here in a second. We did I say that? Yes, I did. We bless our homes with housewarmings, right? When we throw rice at the couple as they're leaving the wedding or whatever, sparklers or whatever we do, that's a way of conferring blessing. In fact, that's the root of the practice. We are having a pet blessing at the end of this month on the 29th in our Sunday service. Bring your pets on a leash, properly contained. And if it's not appropriate for your pet to come and participate in terms of crowd and being out in the world, bring a picture of your pet and we will confer good upon, a divine blessing upon your pet. And just so you know, this is the first time we've done it, at least in my tenure, as part of the Sunday morning service. And so it'll be an adventure and we'll just see what happens with that. So we bless things all the time. Let's get conscious. Why do we bless things? Inherent in the idea of blessing something is the notion that there is something greater than we are. It's the notion that there is a force for good, something greater than we are, that is a force for good, a force for love, a force for harmony in the universe. And not only that, this unseen power is available to me. This unseen power is available to me. I can use it to bless, to confer good upon or divine favor upon someone or something else, someone or something. And not only can I do that, you can too. And I'm not talking about the kind of blessing where somebody's really irritating you and you say, oh, bless their heart. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about the kind of blessing where we really are holding someone's highest good in our conscious state of mind. Now, we have a long history of blessing in Western spiritual teaching. Let's just work with the Hebrew Bible for a minute. In the book of Genesis, we are created in the image and likeness of God. I think it's 1:26 or 27. We are created, and we are created in the image and likeness of God. And the very next verse, and God blessed them. The first thing we got was a blessing. The first thing we got was good or divine favor conferred upon us. How cool is that? And you go a few chapters forward in Genesis and you learn the story of Abraham. And Abraham, just briefly, because this is all, I could do a sermon series on this, it's so rich. Abraham is all settled and happy in life, is pretty good, and God says, hey, pick up your stuff, move your family, everything, and I'm going to show you a new land. He doesn't even say, move to Tacoma, and you've been to Tacoma before and you kind of have a sense of what it is. He says, pick up your stuff, pack it up, and I'm going to show you after you leave where you're going. And Abraham's like, what? I'm not sure, But God says, do this, and I will bless you. And later in the story, as they're moving into the promised land, I will bless you and your people, and you will make a great nation, and your people will be blessed forever. How beautiful is that? Leave everything you've known. This is the short version of that series. Leave everything you've known, set it aside, all your safety nets, all the things that you think make your life good, leave it all behind, and you will be blessed. Let's go. I heard somebody say, no way. Okay. Like, that's the beauty of our teaching. We have the choice, right? We get to choose. Sarah was blessed with a child in her old age, and it is distinctly spoken of as a blessing. I love the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel. Have you ever wrestled with your demons, your angels, right? Wrestling with the angel, trying to get clear about life. And the angel's wearing out, and dawn is coming, and the angel says, all right, time to wrap it up. And Jacob's like, no, we're going to wrestle until I get your blessing. And the angel finally caves and says, fine, you're blessed. And of course, you remember last summer we studied the Beatitudes, didn't we? Blessed are they that mourn. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are the meek. If you weren't here for that, go back and listen to the recordings. Because truly, it is a blessing to be meek. As much as a contradiction as that sounds. Blessed are the merciful. Blessing. It's an integral part of our teaching. It's an integral part of the spiritual path that we walk. Let's examine it, get friendly with it, do it from a place of consciousness, and we can reap many blessings by engaging the gentle art of blessing. And we can be a blessing to others so that they may reap the great blessings of life. So how do you bless something? Well, it's words, or it's an act, something you do, or it might be a glance or a look. Have you ever felt blessed just by somebody making eye contact with you? Oh, I've had that experience, and it's a beautiful thing, isn't it? But you see, the blessing is not the glance. The blessing is not the words. The blessing is not the act. The blessing is the consciousness with which the words are spoken. The blessing is the consciousness with which the act is engaged in. It is the consciousness with which the look is given. And it's so important to know this because just speaking is not enough. What is the spirit of things? Be in the spirit of things. I love that, being in the spirit of things, and one of our names for God is the same thing. Spirit. Be God-minded. Put on the mind of God. Clear your consciousness, as it said in this reading earlier today, of any sense of judgment or negative feelings or thoughts about anybody or anything. Move into God consciousness, Christ consciousness that we talked about last week. That consciousness that we are all one. There's only one thing happening, and we cannot be separate from the divinity that we are. And in that consciousness, I speak my word of blessing on you this day. I confer good upon you this day, knowing that the infinite mind and heart of God is right where you are. You cannot be separate from it. Oh, but we try so hard to be separate from it, don't we? That's where the efforting lies. That's why we get tired. It's why we get depressed. It's why we get anxious. It's why we get all this stuff. It's our efforting to prove and show that we are separate from the infinite life. Breathe with me for a moment. And accept the good. Open your hearts and minds to the good that God already is. See, we don't speak the blessing to make the good so. The good already is. We speak the blessing to awaken our consciousness to the fact that the good already is. We engage in the blessed act because we are activating an awareness that good already is, and all we need to do is align with it. So the author of this book, Pierre Protervand, I think is how you would pronounce it, on page 103, he talks about what it means to bless. To bless means to wish, unconditionally and from the deepest chamber of your heart, unrestricted good for others and for events. It means to hallow. To hallow means to make holy, right? It means to hallow, to hold in reverence, to behold with awe that which is always a gift from the Creator. The one who is hallowed by your blessing, the one who is made holy by your blessing, is set aside, consecrated, holy, whole. To bless is to invoke divine care upon, to speak or think gratefully for, to confer happiness upon, although we ourselves are never the bestower. We are not the bestower. We are the joyful witness to life's abundance. We are the joyful witness to what already is so. You are already holy. You are already happy. You are already perfect, whole, and complete. You are already divinely cared for. But let me lift myself in consciousness and know that spiritual truth for you right here and right now so that you may experience it more fully for yourself. That which is already so. How you doing? You buy that? Awesome. See, it's simple. And then there's the daily practice. Then there's the daily practice. When that person in the next cubicle is behaving in ways that you don't appreciate, can you bless that person anyway? So we anchor ourselves in this attitude of deep reverence. We put on the mind, we put on the heart of God. We free our thinking from any judgment, any negativity, and then we speak the word. Or we engage in the act. Or we look the look. That's all it is. We embody the presence. And we speak a word of blessing. Or we hold a moment of blessing in consciousness for others. Now, how you doing with this? You think you can do that? I see some people going, I see other people going, right? So as we move through this material all week long, or all month long, we're going to be talking about how do I do this in the hard places, right? What is my call to be a blessing to others? How am I called to duplicate the nature of spirit? So know that if you're not quite there yet, you can get there pretty darned easily, I promise you. And one of the tools we have in this book is starting on page 163. She has a number of wonderful blessings for everyday life. So if you don't know how to bless, stop, put on the mind of God for a moment, which means release all judgment, all fear, all negativity. Just lift yourself in consciousness by knowing your oneness with all. And then look, you can turn to page 172 and read a blessing for the terrorists. Really. Because you know what? What's going to heal? What truly heals? Love truly heals. And until we can love, there will be terrorism. Until we can love, there will be pain and there will be loss. The only thing that truly heals is love. Next time you're in the grocery store, you can say a little blessing for the retail service employee. I had a bit of an experience with somebody earlier this week, and I had just read this section. And I was like, oh, damn it. Really have to bless this person now? Are you kidding me? But you know what? That's the path. You see, our spirituality means nothing if it's not a daily practice. If you're just here on Sunday and you kind of get a shot of renewal, there's nothing wrong with that, trust me. But where the rubber meets the road is on Monday morning, and Tuesday morning, and Wednesday morning, and Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday. How are we being in the realm of our daily experience? Are we living our teaching every day, every moment? Are we living spiritual truth every day, every moment to the best of our ability? And when we fall, do we pick ourselves up again cheerfully, without blame and without shame and without self-judgment, and simply move on? Oh, I'm adorable. Look what I did. I forgot and got mad at somebody and forgot to bless them. That's the cutest thing ever. Now move on. Apologize if you need to. And now move on. Our spirituality has no meaning if it's not an integral part of our daily lives. Live it every day or don't bother. So, here are some ways that you can practice blessing, some very tangible tools for you to lift yourself in consciousness and begin to bless others. Why should we bother to do this? Can you think of any benefits before I even say anything? Can you think of any benefits of being a center of blessing for others and for the world? We're going to change the world. Like, let's just get right to it. We're going to change the world if we truly can be a center of blessing for others. Because what happens when we engage in the gentle art of blessing? We are activating spiritual law. And we're going to go deep with this. I think it's in week 4. We're going to go deep with what are the spiritual laws that are getting activated. But the basic idea is, you guys all know that we're governed, the universe is governed by spiritual laws just like by physical laws, right? We work with these spiritual laws all the time. The law of cause and effect, the law of attention. What is the law of attention? What we put our attention on increases. And if I'm putting my attention on how much you bother me, you're going to bother me more. But if I'm putting my attention on conferring good upon you and on your life, I swear you will be transformed before my very eyes. And the cool thing is, you didn't change, I did. Do you see that? Because we create our experience. Remember, going back to that first book of Genesis, we are created in the image and likeness of the infinite creator. And so as God creates, we create. We create our experience by giving it word and emotional content. You've heard me say this 1,000 times. When I confer blessing upon those who hurt me, I create a different energetic. You see, it's not the word, it's the vibration of the word. Do you see what I'm saying? When I talk about we have to lift ourselves in consciousness and speak from a place of loving non-judgment, we begin to understand it's the vibration of my word that is more important than what I'm actually saying. Because the vibration of a loving word will create greater benefit both to myself and to the world. So let's be a blessing. Let's activate spiritual law. Let's engage our teaching of, what's the name of our teaching? Unity. Unity. Oneness. There's one thing happening. Let's engage consciously with that law by recognizing as I confer good upon you, I'm conferring good upon all and upon myself. So we trigger the spiritual law of attention. We engage more fully with our unity and oneness. And finally, to me, well, maybe not finally, who knows? There's a million good reasons to do this. The best reason for me to engage in the spiritual practice of blessing is it develops spiritual discipline. Yes? How many of you, your mind just goes? And then that happened, and then I can't believe she said that, and then the other thing happened, and how could they? And man, that person really drives me crazy. And our minds just go. Our minds are very busy places. If we do not develop mental and spiritual discipline, we vibrate here, and we want to vibrate here. Spiritual discipline lifts us from this vibration to the vibration that is actually life-affirming and life-giving. Why bless others? Why practice the gentle art of blessing? I'm like, why breathe? Why get up in the morning? Why do anything? Because we want to. It's not even that we want to. We are here to evolve and grow. That's why we're here. It evolves and grows us by triggering those spiritual laws, by engaging us with our unity and oneness, and by developing spiritual discipline, by supporting us in living our teaching every day, every moment, even when we don't feel like it. Breathing with me. So let's practice the gentle art of blessing just a little bit. In a moment, I'm going to share with you some of the blessing for myself that's in the blessings section of this book. And then I might riff on it a little bit, we'll see. But what I would like to start with is this idea of engaging with an attitude of deep reverence for myself, for the world, for knowing that we are holy beings living in a holy place. So we're going to start there. I invite you to bring your attention to your breath. And to feel your breath moving in and out of your body. This is an endless cycle of reception and release. The root word for inspiration, respiration, is spirit. Spirit means breath. And so as you breathe, feel your consciousness expanding to understand the very spirit of all life is breathing you now. Breathing in and breathing out, surrendering, opening more fully than you ever have before to an awareness that something greater than you are inhabits you. It is right where you are. And you simply allow yourself to be lifted in this conscious awareness right now, adopting an attitude of holiness, of deep reverence for all of creation. I invite you to put on the very mind of God, the very heart of God beats in you. And releasing any fear, any judgment, any negativity, simply anchor in love. And now, in your mind's eye, begin to see yourself. You might envision your face, your whole self, something, a symbol, something that represents you. In your mind's eye, in your spiritual eyes, just begin to envision you. And as you see yourself, magnify your awareness. This is you at one with the infinite. Magnify that awareness right now. And in this state of reverence for yourself, say these words in your heart of hearts with me. I bless myself as the smile of infinite love. I bless myself as the song of infinite goodness. I bless myself as a stream of refreshing truth. I bless myself in my guiltless innocence, in my full joy that none can rob or erase. I bless myself in peace, peace as deep as the ocean, deep, rich, calm peace. I bless myself at one with the infinite. I bless myself anchored in love. And just begin to feel the vibration of these words throughout your body and throughout this image you hold in mind. Know yourself holy. Know yourself sacred. Know yourself whole. And I do give thanks. I give thanks for the transformation in consciousness that is happening in this room. I give thanks for the transformation in consciousness that is happening throughout the universe. As we learn and grow and evolve, all evolves. I give thanks for the blessing. And I give thanks that we are indeed blessed. And so I close this message with a grateful heart, confident that we are transformed and all is well. And so it is. Amen.